I've been painting traditionally and digitally for such a long time. This is one of the most polarizing and hot topics in the art community. Should you choose traditional or digital art? Today I want to compare both sides to find out what art form suits you best. There are strengths to both, there are weaknesses to both, so let's get into it. First off, let's start with the digital art. I've been digitally painting since I was 11, so almost 15 years, and I have learned so much. I'm pretty much completely self-taught when it comes to digital art. Digital art is a convenient way to create full color, complex artwork without having to invest a lot of money into a dedicated workspace or tool set. If you have an iPad already, you can create art for free. If you have a desktop or a laptop, you can buy a $50, $100 tablet to start drawing. There are so many free digital painting programs like GIMP or Crete. There are really inexpensive ones like Paint Tool Sci and Clip Studio Paint that offer good free trials and are pretty inexpensive for a lifetime license. Clip Studio Paint gives you a 6-month free trial, and then you can buy the program for as little as $54 for a lifetime license. Unfortunately, Photoshop is not that inexpensive, but it is so great that we have programs like Clip Studio Paint or the other free ones. The scale of what you can create is absolutely unlimited. You can create a digital canvas as large as you want and to zoom in to draw as intricate details as you desire. The scale and the complexity of the artwork you can create is very much free and accessible to everyone. This next pro might be my own bias, but I think a lot more corporate companies are looking for digital artists when it comes to their concept art creation and just the art that they use in their video games or concept art shows in general versus traditional art.
I'm going to be heading Nina. Did I come in at a bad time? Hello?
See you later.
Later.
I say this based on just the brand deals that I've received for the type of art that I've created. I receive a lot more brand deals to create digital art versus traditional art. I think if you consider what like the corporate world wants, especially when it comes to art, it wants something that's convenient, easy to produce quickly or without a lot of mess. And so I think digital art can be a lot more streamlined than traditional art. I think it's something we see a little bit more of when it comes to artwork and media. That being said, I'm not saying obviously there's no jobs for traditional art, but I have personally gotten a lot fewer jobs for traditional art as opposed to digital. I've been self-taught on my journey digitally painting. I've had to learn a lot about the painting programs I've worked in. I've also had to learn about the different brushes, color palettes, color theory, layers, all of the tools you need to know in a digital painting program. That being said, I understand the struggle of having to get used to a whole new workflow when it comes to digital painting, and I am really excited to say that my very first book is coming out in February. It is called Digital Painting Made Simple, Creating Captivating Portraits in Clip Studio Paint, Procreate, Photoshop, and more. I've worked on this book for almost 3 years now, and my publishers have been so amazing in giving me so much insight into asking the right questions about what a beginner is looking for in one of these books. The book is going to cover a wide range of information from technical aspects of digital painting when it comes to color palettes, color theory, brushes, layers, the layout of your program, what tablets to choose, all the way to the end of the final digital painting creation, the finishing touches. I'm going to be talking about how to draw the individual features of the face, hair, skin tones, clothing textures, backgrounds. I am so excited to share this book with you. I've worked so diligently to create something that I think will actually be so useful for you. And I think this book is going to be useful for beginners to a little bit more of advanced digital painting artists as well. I keep flipping through the manuscript and I am stunned at the quality of this book. It is definitely not all my doing. My publishers have been so insanely helpful in helping me craft this really perfect, comprehensive piece of literature. It is definitely one of the highlights of the things that I've accomplished so far. I'm very grateful to my publishers. They've been so amazing, and I'm really proud of myself for coming up with a book that is this good. There will also be some free resources available for download for anybody, even if you don't purchase the book, like some color palettes and my brushes. But I am just so excited for this book to come out, to be in your hands, and for it to be a resource for you. There are pre-order links on my website. You can pre-order this book anywhere where you get your books. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, Blackwell's, Books A Million, Amazon. Please pre-order it. It helps me so much when it comes to my publisher and how it's distributed. So if you would pre-order it, it would mean so much to me. I appreciate it. It comes out February 25th, 2025, and there will be some other exciting announcements about the book closer to its actual release date. But thank you so much if you have pre-ordered it. The endorsements for this book are also off the charts. I am so floored at the artists that have endorsed this book. I will be sharing them a little bit later too. Now that we've talked about the digital painting pros, let's talk about traditional traditional art pros. I have been drawing traditionally ever since I was old enough to hold a crayon. I think all of us have been drawing for that long. I think it's just a matter of if we ever stopped drawing until we got to adulthood or if we kept drawing. I personally think I've only drastically improved in my traditional art in the past 2 or 3 years. It's something that I've been really working on and challenging myself with when it comes to drawing a little bit more realistically from reference, from my imagination, and when it comes to expanding the subject matter that I draw, as well as the different media that I do use. Traditional art has so many different media that you can experiment with. It feels almost like comparing digital and traditional is not the same, because I think it would be a little bit more accurate to compare digital to acrylic, digital to oil, digital to graphite, because there are so many different types of traditional art that are encompassed in traditional art. There are so many options for you to find one medium that you excel in and that you love. There's something for everyone when it comes to traditional art. If you don't enjoy painting with wet paint, you can draw with oil pastels or chalk pastels or graphite or charcoal or watercolors. Whatever medium you want to explore, you can. One of the best aspects of traditional art is the rewarding feeling of being able to hold a completed, finished, tangible artwork in your hands. You can digitize your traditional art so that you can have it as a high-res file on your computer, but I think it is so satisfying to be able to physically hold a tangible work of art that you've created, to look up close at the textures, to be able to hang it up as an original. You can also sell your original work alongside prints. Depending on the medium you use, it can be easy for you to avoid some back and wrist pain, some carpal tunnel. If you are using portable art supplies, you can work at your desk, move over to your couch or your bed, on the floor, whatever. You can really switch up the position in which you are sitting to draw. This seems like it could be a really small detail, but to me, it's pretty impactful. I think people in general are a lot more impressed by traditional art than they are by digital art. Even if I spend so much more time on a digital painting that required so much attention to details and finesse, if I draw a 10 to 15 minute sketch, it gets so much more engagement online. I think people are a lot more intrigued to see a traditional art process versus to see a digital painting process. I think because everybody has sort of some experience with drawing when they were a child or maybe when they were in high school, the complexity of traditional art is not lost on laymen the way that the complexity of digital painting is lost on a lot of people that have never experienced it or tried it. In general, I think you might get a little bit more of a positive reception when you show people your traditional art versus your digital art. That being said, traditional art does have several cons as well as digital. Let's talk a little bit about traditional since we're fresh on the mind of the pros. Some of the biggest cons for traditional art are your limitations when it comes to space and budget. You really don't have the freedom to create as large as you want, as complex, as colorful, in whatever style and medium, unless you invest in art supplies and your workspace. Every time you want to draw something on a larger scale or with a different medium, you actually have to go out, spend money, and invest into those supplies for yourself. If you are a longtime artist like me, you know that you kind of create an arsenal of art supplies you can use for decades. Brushes, if you take care of them, can be used for a lifetime. Art supplies, you can use them until they run out, which can be literal decades. So while it's not like you have to be replacing all of these art supplies frequently, if you want to experiment with your style, with different media, you do have to invest more money up front than you would if you were just digitally painting. When it comes to the investments you have to make, if you do want to have high resolution digitized versions of your work, you will have to invest in a scanner unless you want to go and pay for somebody to scan it like it's Staples every single time you create something new. I personally have invested in a really good scanner for my traditional art, and it's something I think you need to be aware of if you want to have high quality digitized versions of your work. I also think, irrelevant if you are posting online or not, you want to invest in some good lighting for when you are drawing at night, especially if you are painting with vibrant colors, lifelike colors. You want to have some true daylight, some diffused lighting that won't hurt your eyes, that will help you draw with accurate colors, and that will help with any kind of fatigue or strain you might have drawing at night. This is also really important if you are posting online. Obviously, you want to have nice crisp video or nice crisp pictures of your work, especially if you're taking photos or video at night. So lighting is something that you might have to actually invest in. With digital art, the lighting comes from the screen. You don't have to invest. This ties into the pros of a digital art, but a con of traditional art is that I think there are less corporate job opportunities for traditional artists. I'm not saying that there are not companies or studios that really value traditional artists. I think it takes a specific art-loving and slow employer who will be looking for a specifically traditional artist in today's day and age. Traditional art can be a lot more time-consuming when it comes to to set up dry times, scanning, editing your artwork. So I think that digital art can be a little bit more convenient when it comes to game studios, movie studios. If you disagree, let me know. Do you know about traditional art jobs that are lucrative? If you do, let me know. I'm looking for a job. This is just my own personal experience and what I have been hired to do digitally versus traditionally. I found a lot less work with my traditional art. My very last con is it can be very messy. I'm so discouraged drawing with my oil paints because of how sticky and messy they are. I have some sensory issues, and I also have this urge to throw things out whenever I feel like they're dirty beyond repair or beyond being able to clean them well. That's not true, obviously, and I don't act upon my urge to throw things out. But that being said, I hate that feeling. I'm so much less incentivized to work with oil paints because of the feeling you get on your fingers, because of the workspace that you have to clean, set up, and dry time. In general, I try to stick to media that is a little bit cleaner and easier to clean up after. So dry media, colored pencils, alcohol markers, and watercolor pans. Otherwise, I really don't find myself attracted to gouache paints, to acrylics, to oil paints. Unfortunately, they're just a little bit more messy for me, and it's something that to me is a pretty big con, especially when you're working in a workspace that doubles up as your admin space, what you actually do for your job or for your school. Having to clean that workspace every single time you're done with painting or every time you want to get started on some computer work can be a little bit jarring. That being said, we have to be fair. What are some digital painting cons? The very first one is the limitation of creating something virtual. Sure, you can print it out, but you will never be able to hold your original work in your hands. You also will not be able to sell your original work. Okay, yes, you can. You can create an NFT of your artwork and sell it, but that is lame. It's not sustainable for the environment. It's very gimmicky. For all intents and purposes, you really can't sell your original work. You can sell digital painting commissions, which is what I do. In that sense, it is an original artwork that you are selling to somebody, but when it comes to an original piece of work that you create, you can only sell duplicates of that in the form of prints. Another huge con is you can't unplug. If your tablet or computer is running low on battery, we have to find a charging port to charge your laptop, your tablet, or else if your device dies, you actually just can't draw. You lose the whole ability to draw, which is completely limiting. One of the pros for digital painting is kind of its versatility and the way that you can travel with your art without any limitations on the amount of supplies you can bring. That being said, you can't unplug. If you don't have electricity, you're done for. Another one, a big one for me, is it puts immense strain on your back and your wrist because I draw at my computer, a desktop with a tablet. I'm sitting in the exact same position for many hours at a time, and that can be extremely exhausting on my body. That's one of the things that I really resent most about being an artist, is how sedentary this life is. It's something I'm trying to figure out. I work a lot, so I'm sitting a lot all day long, and it's kind of a bummer. I definitely have to mention, sitting in the same position for an extended period of time, you have to be extremely intentional when it comes to getting some exercise, stretches, and making sure you're not exhausting your body to a point where it actually does become damaged. It's a huge bummer, and I find it impacts me a lot more when it comes to digital art versus traditional. I find a little bit more freedom in the way that I can move around with traditional art. The very last one, which might not seem like a big one to you, but it is to me, is there are art purists. There are so many people out there that will not be ashamed to tell you that your digital art is not real art and that you are not a good artist because you create digital art. If you're one of those people, you're certified stupid. You need to step back, reassess how uninformed you are about the topic that you're speaking on. I would definitely urge you, if you feel that way, to try to digitally paint and come back and tell me how you feel about it once you do. It's a really stupid con, but at the end of the day, there are so many people out there who just find it so easy to insult you that you're not a real artist because you do digital art. Okay, insult my digital art, but I still draw traditionally, I guess. Some people might be annoying about it, and that can be a con. So now that we have analyzed the pros and cons for both digital and traditional art, what should you choose for yourself, for your own lifestyle, for your own art style? I would say both. If you can, I would recommend having a small traditional art toolkit, and if you want to experiment with scale, with colors, I would recommend having an affordable digital painting option for yourself. I think digital art is so much better for experimentation in a way that does not interfere with your space limitations or even your budget. The barrier of entry there is really getting to know how to use a program and getting to know how to use your tablet. I love creating art both ways. I think traditional art is more compelling to watch back To see the process of traditional art is extremely exciting because it's really something from nothing. You can see the artist's thought process as they're putting down lines or paint on a paper. That being said, I also just love digital art for the effects that I can create, the styles, the colors that I can explore. I just think there is so much more image manipulation you can do with digital art that really is exciting to me. And I would love to post a lot more digital art processes for you, but I know they don't do very well on my channel. I think they're a little bit less enjoyable to watch, especially the way that I edit them or don't edit them. So if you have any tips on how I can make my digital art videos a little bit more intriguing, entertaining, let me know, because I want to be posting more digital art processes on my channel. At the end of the day, it's very admirable that you're here trying to figure out which art medium to explore next, what to commit to. So I really hope that you have some success on that endeavor. Don't forget, I have a book coming out on digital painting for beginners. I would be so grateful if you would pre-order it from my website or the links down below. That would be amazing. I'm excited to share a little bit more with you as we get closer to the release date. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching this video. I am so grateful that you're here and that you stuck through this video. Subscribe for more videos because I put out videos Tuesdays and or Thursdays. I hope you take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.